Well, good morning, everybody. Beautiful day here in Alabama. I've had a lot of requests to show my plants and what I'm doing and how I'm caring for them in the winter. Today is November 15th, and I brought these plants in on October 10th, so they've been inside for about 5 weeks. I grow inside for 7 months of the year, and I'm only outside for 5 months of the year. I don't live in South Florida like a lot of people seem to think, or a very tropical area. We get cold weather, we get frost, we get temperatures down in the teens and stuff here occasionally too. Anyway, today we're inside and it's bright and sunny. This window faces due south, so they do get a lot of natural light coming through here. And my collection is only a little over 40 orchids, so they fit on these shelves real well. The only plants that aren't here are, I'm going to show you here in a minute. There's 2 dendrobiums that are out in my workshop that won't fit on the shelves because they have flower spikes and they're big plants to begin with. So they're sitting out there right now, but I'll show those here shortly with these other plants close, a little bit closer up. It's hard to show them. The camera doesn't do well with shadows and light and stuff like that, changing through the windows like that. Has a hard time. Sometimes you can see the plant, sometimes you can't. But they're doing great. Like I said, they're getting a lot of light. Over here on the side is Hoya wayeti, Hoya burtonii, which is still blooming. The Epiphyllum hookeri, and then Dendrobium aggregatum hanging there. They're getting a lot of indirect light from the window, but also from the light fixtures. And I've got a few hanging in front of that window that I'm going to show here in just a moment. But that's everybody. They're doing great. I'm feeding every day or so. I take a handful, take them out, set them on the workbench in those containers like I've shown before, and they sit and soak for 15 to 20 minutes. And then I let them sit and drain on a couple of trays, and then they come in here and I swap them out with some other ones. Everybody's getting fed at least once a week. Some are getting fed more, but I've got plants that are growing new roots, new spikes, new canes, new bulbs, new shoots, and flower spikes. So some of the Phalaenopsis that have flower spikes that are, have gotten up to where they're 4 or 5 inches long now, I'm no longer giving those a lot of nitrogen. I've cut back on the nitrogen. No calcium nitrate at the moment. They're just getting straight up 5-12-26, which has a little bit of it, but only 5%, so not much. Just to prevent cakeys, hopefully. I want blooms, not cakeys. Other than that, if it's growing, I'm feeding it. I'm feeding about 120 parts per million, 125 parts per million right now. And that's about it. I use a little kelp and seaweed, and probably with every time I mix up nutrients, I put a little bit of kelp and seaweed in it. It's not so much for the potassium, which it is a little bit of potassium in it, but or the growth hormones, which is beautiful growth hormones in that, which really make the plants grow. But it's to help drop the pH also. It helps drop the pH down a little bit lower. The nutrients themselves will drop the pH, but the less nutrients you use in your mix, the less it will drop, the less pH drop you will get. So to make sure that I'm getting down, into 5-8 range, 5-8 to 6 on a pH scale, I use just a few drops of kelp or seaweed in there, and it helps drop it down a little bit. But it doesn't really add anything from a parts per million standpoint. But that's how I'm feeding, and that's about as often as I'm feeding. Some plants are getting fed a lot, some plants are not getting fed very much. I've only got a couple of plants that are kind of dormant that aren't doing anything, and they're not getting fed, but once every 10 days probably they get a little bit of soak. I'll let the plants kind of tell me what they want. If you're actively growing and have roots coming out all over the place, you're going to get fed. I've got a little stool here. I can reach the top shelf, but I just can't. It's at eye level, but it's just hard to film, so I'm going to use that little stool to film with to help you all. There's 2 plants down here. These are catasetums. They're dormant. They're not doing anything. I'm going to show those later on, and this spring as they start to awaken, then we'll get a little more hands-on with them, and they'll probably be on film a little bit more. I'm going to have lots of questions to ask you guys, I'm sure. I've never grown a catasetum. I'm just very curious about their growth and how they grow. So these came from a dear friend of mine, Paula at Hillbilly Orchids. She's been wanting to send me a couple of catasetums for a while, and she sent these 2 catasetums to me, and then 2 other plants. I'm going to show you. There's an encyclia over in front of that window I'm going to show you here in a minute, and there's a cattleya right here, Chantilly Lace Twinkle. Beautiful bloom, fragrant, and beautiful division she sent me. And I'll show it here too when I'm up on the shelves here. But that's how I'm feeding, what I'm feeding. That's my light fixtures, my shelves. They're facing the direct south. They get a lot of sun through the windows, you can tell. But they're just doing great. 4 spikes on that Phalaenopsis. The 2 old spikes that we didn't cut off, that we fed it and fed it and fed it, so we held on to those spikes. Those have branched off and have buds on them now. And I've got 2 new spikes coming out. So we've gotten 4 spikes off that phal, which I think is great. Big, beautiful growth on this Oncidium. Nice root growth on that Phalaenopsis. It's doing great. It was blooming when I purchased it, but it's really seems to love those cedar boxes they do. There's 2 little variegated phals up there that are getting a lot of light. I mean, a lot of light. And there's a little bit of a story behind that. Just lots of growth. New canes on that Brassavola. Big new growth on that cat right there. Beautiful. That phal's very happy. Look at the big root coming out the side. They really seem to love those boxes. They're full of lava rock, but they really seem to like them. These have grown into them. That's one that's kind of dormant, not doing much of anything. Encyclia Rio Clarence. I've got another one in a hanging basket that's the same way, just kind of dormant. Lots of root growth, but nothing else going on. This one is Epi Pixie Charm, and it's got a couple of new shoots coming up that are growing, so we're feeding and feeding and feeding that one. Sorry for the camera. I hope I'm not moving real fast. Big growth on that cat. Lots of roots back there. There we go. Sorry about that. This is that division that Paula sent me. I've got it tied up kind of tight right now. It's a good sized division, and Paula's plants, some of her plants are monsters. They're growing in buckets. They're just really, really big. This is a beautiful division. It has nice roots, but the roots are not adapted to lava rock. It's going to get me some new roots, I'm hoping soon. It does have a new shoot coming out. We want to keep feeding it and make sure we can maintain that. It's a pretty plant. I've just got it tied up real tight right now, just so it's a bit of a wild child. It's a very strong grower that rambles out if you're not careful. And it'll take up 3 times as much space, but it'll grow into that. And these clips are on the outside, so I can remove those if I need to. Smaller pot, but I did that so I could get some control of the of its growth right now. But everything's just doing tremendous. And you can see the new shoots. The roots just pour out of the... With lava rock, that's the kind of growth I get. Just get so much root growth in that lava rock. You know, one of the things, I knew lava rock probably had silica in it, but didn't realize how much silica lava rock has. Lava rock has like 40% silica in it. Has quite a bit of silica content, and I don't think that's a bad thing for the growth of the plants. That might have something to do with the robust, thick growth that I get on most of them. That phal's got multiple spikes there. Big, beautiful spike right there branching off. Nice branching, really nice. I think that one's got 3 spikes on it too. But new growth. This is beautiful. Anyway, I just wanted to give a quick peek. Let me show you this little group over here. Just a quick video today for you. I appreciate all the kind words and all those wonderful questions everybody asks. This is Encyclia Rio Clarence as well. And it's got roots growing, but it's not doing anything up here. It's just kind of sitting, so it seems to like the sun. It's doing well. Loves that basket. It's growing all over that basket. But it's not getting fed as often. It shows me what it wants. It's getting moisture. It's doing fine. This is a couple of keikis off of Dendrobium My Sweet Wink that really seems to love that wood. Roots all over it. Has grown quite well. Tillandsias, loving that sunshine. They're hanging here with LC Blue Denard, or LC Denard Blue Heaven. Beautiful roots on this. Leaves are thick like plastic. Like plastic. Seems to really be happy. This is Brassifolium nodosa Little Stars. I got this plant back in March, around the first week of March, and around a month later, first week of May, which was 6 months ago, I mounted it on this piece of cypress. And since then, it's given me about a dozen, 14, something like that, new shoots, just really grown like crazy. And now I've got 4 flower spikes I've noticed. I saw them the other day. I was counting. I wasn't sure, but yeah, sure enough, there's at least 4 there with multiple buds on them. Couldn't be happier. It's doing really, really well. Roots all over that piece of wood. I've never had a Brassavola that did not like being mounted or in a basket. They love to have their roots get that dry cycle. They don't like continually wet, wet, wet roots. I've never had one that didn't grow like a weed when it was mounted. And it's not, all I do is I let it sit and soak for about 20 minutes, and then I pull it out, let it hang, and hang it back up out here. And, after it stopped dripping, and a week to 10 days later, I repeat the process, and it just continually grows and grows and grows. And it's very easy to care for. People think if you have mounts, you have to water them every day. This is another one that Paula sent me in that box. This is Encyclia tampensis, Alba variety, and it's loving this sunshine. I hollowed out that piece of driftwood, and it fits in there just perfect. There's holes drilled through the sides and coming out the bottom for the roots to come out of, for it to anchor itself, and it seems to just hold it in just the right position. So I'm just going to slide it out of its little pot, not disturb the roots at all or the bark, and just slide it right in there and let it just enjoy it. And it can just grow all over that piece of wood. And I've never had an Encyclia that didn't love being mounted or didn't grow really, really well mounted. They all seem to love that dry cycle. They don't need as much water as everybody thinks they do. They don't do well with their bark being kept wet all the time. Anyway, that one's, I think, going to really enjoy that piece of wood. I hope so. It should make for a real pretty mount. It just holds it in just the right position, too. So, anyway, just a quick peek. I love the questions, you guys. Like I've said many times, I love those questions. I really appreciate all the kind words. Everybody always is so kind. Some of the best growers and the nicest people hang out on this channel. I truly am appreciative. I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me, and Jan as well. And Paula, again, thank you for the beautiful gift. I'm not really accepting plants. Those catasetums I really would love to have had and give them a try and see what happens. And I know the person that they came from too, so that means a lot as well. But this is enough. This keeps me busy right here. More than enough. Anyway, have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk soon.